The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear and see me now? Yes. Excellent. Good morning, folks. Enjoying our whipsaw? My. Well, let's get started. I don't think the market's going to get any easier, and that's applying both to the SPX as well as the metals. So please sit back, and I think you'll probably need to hear this video at least one more time because, like I said, there are now a lot of complexities when it's nowhere near as simple in the metals, clearly. And right now, the market, the SPX, I believe, is topping, but the question is, what is the structure of that topping? And I'm debating back and forth whether I go into the complexities and outline them, or simply try to explain it from a very simplistic standpoint. From a very simplistic standpoint, we have overlap on the way up. We have 3 waves up. Could this be 5 waves? Maybe. Right now, I really have a hard time seeing us breaking out over that resistance. Okay, and that's assuming that this gets even more complex. Here we have a 5-wave structure with a truncated top, and then we're dealing with a 3-wave pullback that really doesn't even look like a completed C wave down here. And so the question now is, well, what's this? You can barely even make a higher high. The relationship to these waves is just, to look for not even a 0.618 C wave relative to the prior wave, and that's even not even taking into account the overnight action. There are just too many micro questions in this region. Now, many people have asked, well, we said last week that if the market breaks down below this level here, it confirms we have a B wave top in place. I probably misspoke when I said that. Rather, what it did, when you broke down below here, it invalidated the potential for a 1-2 higher. So what did it do? It validated that this rally had 5 waves completed. Now, my assumption was all of this was going to be the B wave. At this point, that was a wrong and premature assumption. Rather, it seems as though all this was the end of the rally, and that we confirmed with a low breaking down below here, but now it seems that was only the A wave. Now, we're getting even further complexity with this breakdown overnight, and that could very well suggest that this entire thing turns into a WXY. What's WXY? Basically, it's just a bunch of 3s, where the C wave does not give us a 5-wave structure. This is a rally, an ABC for W, ABC down for an X, and then the Y is an ABC as well. So again, assuming we hold support down here and don't break below this low, we hold support, then I'm still looking for another rally that'll take us up here. And when we complete a 5-wave rally and I'm going to say this slowly, what would it be for the C wave of the Y wave of the B wave? I know that's a little more complex than what we normally deal with, but that's how I would almost have to label it at this point in time. Okay? That's like I said, it's a little more complex. But when you take a step back, I want you to realize that what it really comes down to is, as long as we stay below 3,000 on the SPX, I'm looking for a resolution to take us down towards the 2,700 region and potentially break that. I'm looking for a move, ideally, to take us to at least that 2,685 region, potentially with a strong overshoot down to as low as 2,600. Okay, guys? Can everybody hear me? I'm getting questions. My speech is cutting in and out. Okay. Well, if Okay, everybody else says they can hear me. If my speech is cutting out to some of you, it means your connections are not strong enough. Okay, I was worried about my connection because I'm at a hotel. So if you're not hearing me, it means your connection is not strong enough. I was worried about my connection. Okay, so let's go back. So right now, guys, ultimately what it comes down to is we could see more machinations here. There's even opportunities where we can get a triangle for a B wave that can last us another week. And basically we just go sideways between 2800 and the high we just struck. And we just spend another week within this region going back and forth before we resolve to the downside. Ultimately, I believe this is going to resolve to the downside in a C wave. I don't have anything that I would say that that I think would suggest that the market is ready to break out. And you see where I said bullish over this region? I have nothing in place right now that would, I mean, when I say nothing, I mean lower than 20% probabilities that there is anything on the chart right now that's going to break us out over that 3115 region. Again, lower than 20% to see a direct breakout. I believe we are going down to that 2600 to 2700 region first. And as I noted, it's something I'd be willing to buy on the IWM. However, let me move over to the IWM and tell you I want to review that a little bit more because my perspective has changed ever so slightly about it. Okay? That. Initially, I was looking for this to be a 4 and a fifth wave drop down to this region to give me a perfect ABC structure to complete the decline. Into the 143 region, I said I would buy the 143 region. I am not at the point where I am certainly buying the 143 region. This structure now has well, that jingling sound, I apologize, is when somebody posts on Elliott Wave Trader. That's the notice that I get when somebody posts. This way it keeps me alert. This structure right here is this structure right here is something that, again, more complex. This is the WXY. And this is where you could see it a little better because it's labeled. As you can see, the Y wave is comprised of an ABC structure rather than a 5-wave standard C wave. But you still have a standard C wave that will complete the Y wave. So where would I consider buying? I would consider buying after we get a 5-wave decline, and I'm thinking that decline may be deeper now on the IWM. I'm thinking now down to the 618, maybe even as deep as the 764 retrace. So in other words, I'm looking for possibly 133 to about 138, 139. And I'm going to allow the 5-wave structure for that C wave or the Y wave to develop before I'm going to consider moving into the market or looking for a low. So I still have to look for a 5-wave structure, but now it's going to be a more extended drop. At least that's the way this is starting to set up. So right now I wanted to just re-highlight 143 is not going to be my target. I'm looking deeper than that. I'm going to leave that for a game time decision depending on how the 5-wave structure decline develops. That's the IWM. Okay, folks? I just wanted to clarify that before I went any further. What's the ES doing now? Okay. Any questions about my overall market expectations? Are we all clear? I want to make sure because, like I said, it really has become more complex on the smaller degrees, but on the larger degrees, I believe we are still setting up for a decline on the SPX to 26 to 2700 right now. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Any opportunity for the market to break out from here really I see as a very low probability. Good point on the EM, Kevin. EM is postured in the exact same way. I shouldn't say exact same way. It's a little differently. I'm counting this a little differently. This entire decline off the 2018 high is an A wave. We then had an ABC wave for the B wave, and then we had 5 waves down for wave 1, ABC up. I mean, this is almost textbook. For wave 2, you had a wave 1 decline here. I don't know where that 1 went. Seems like it disappeared. Hold on a second. Wave 1, 2. Now this looks like the heart of a third wave. And where did the heart of the third wave go? The third of a third? Well, it went right to the 1.0 extension, which is where it should go. And where did it bounce back to? Went right back to the 618 extension, where it should go. As long as we hold this 618 extension as a resistance region, which is why I basically highlighted the 40, 50 to 41 region. That's really going to be my resistance on any bounce here. And as long as this bounce holds, well, my next target is minimally going to be the 1382, ideally the 1618 down in the low 35 region. So I'd like to see us getting closer to here. And I wouldn't even be shocked if you see this as even further extended where we get back down to the top of the trend channel. That would not shock me. But overall, I'd like to see us back down in the 3350 to 3460 region for this entire decline, minimally. It could drop even deeper depending on how extended the 5 of 3 becomes. I cannot get into timing. Timing is not something I can really rely upon. I don't think anybody can do timing with any form of accuracy. Okay, so I'm hoping I'm getting to your questions, guys, as they're coming up. That's what's delaying me when sometimes I'll see a question. I'm wondering if it's on exactly what I'm saying, so I'm stopping for a second to read your question, and so right now, does the EM look like the weakest? I mean, EM really looks like the cleanest. I would probably put it that way. The EM right now to me looks like the cleanest. Okay? So right now, that's really how I'm looking at this. So everything is still pointing lower over the coming weeks. I really have nothing that is suggestive to anything greater than 20% probability that the market's ready to head to higher highs right now. I really don't have anything that is potentially ready right now. Is the potential target? Yeah, okay. Now let's take a step back on the SPX. Okay, I didn't do that today. If you see, my primary count remains that we're going to be mired in a larger degree fourth wave, taking us down to that lower blue box again. And that's going to take us, I have it out, till only February, but I got to tell you guys, this could take us all the way into the election. The only reason I have it out to February on this chart is I ran out of room. My charts are not indicative of timing. Please recognize that. My charts are not indicative of timing. They are indicative of structure and targets. Structure and targets are what I look for. Timing is not something I believe anybody can do greater than a 50% probability. I have not seen it on a consistent basis. So, that being said, my next drop is going to be what I think could be the A wave of an A wave of wave 4. So a lot more machinations to develop and take this a long time. But, like I said, I'm going to buy this because if this rally off of here turns out to only be corrective, it means we're just going to be going back down. If it turns out to be impulsive, then I have to take that all too more seriously. That's why I'm buying that next drop. That's the bigger picture. Okay, folks? And the next major rally is what's going to likely take us to 3,800 to 4,000. Now, I got to move into the metals because we're running out of time. GDX's breakdown. Put it here. The breakdown that we got yesterday without pushing higher, I will say this, has made this much less likely. That's the one thing it has done, because at least to me, it has made it less likely. Because I don't think that if this, I just don't. The only thing that will make it more likely to me is if this 4, if this really is a 3 here, and I'm just not seeing that. It really does not look like it went high enough to be considered a 3, especially in the metals. I mean, to me, it really doesn't make sense that would be a 3. So the alternative that I'm considering are twofold. One, that this is a 1-2 structure in wave 5 of 3. That is what I'm presenting here. Now, can this be an A wave, and then we go down to here, A, B, C, and then we take off? Certainly, that's possible. I'm going to continue to manage a pivot here. Should we drop lower, this pivot's probably going to come down into this region right here. So effectively, if the market is able to take out wherever the pivot's going to be, if it breaks it out from here, wherever, if the market is able to break out through the pivot, personally, I'm probably going to attempt a leverage long trade and put my stops just under the bottom of the pivot. Because that, to me, gives me a much more bullish interpretation to the overall structure, which is going to point us, get back here, up into this region for wave 3 of 3. Now, mind you, that is where wave 3 of 3 should actually be taking us. Minimally, the 1.0 extension. Minimally. So that makes the chances that this structure is much more bullish. And should we get that breakout, like I said, I'm more than willing to do a leverage trade, and I'm looking for at least that 35 region on that breakout over the pivot. Take out that micro pivot, guys, on my 5-minute chart. I go in with a leverage trade, and I put my stops below that pivot, and I'm looking for this bigger 3. Then we'll get the rest, and then we'll get the next bigger breakout. Okay? But if we can get this 1-2 structure to develop, it makes this much less likely, because now I don't have a full 5-wave structure into this target here. I really have only a 3-wave structure, and it does not give me an ABC move. But no matter what, if it does rally up to this region, I'm going to tell you, take your chips off the table for a while, because I think you're going to see a wave 4 that could take weeks to months. Okay? Okay, let me move on. MACD does not give me any info on that, really. What will make me that gold is down? Again, I think GDX offers the clearest indications right here. If you're asking me what my indications are going to be, what I'm following, silver, gold, no. Right now, I think GDX offers the clearest indication, and that's coming off of that GDX chart right here. I'm looking at this for my indications right now. Okay. Okay. So that's the metals. Any questions? I'm not giving you anything specific on the metals, because right now I don't have anything specific to work with. I, like you, have to wait at times for the market to resolve. Right now, I'm waiting for the market to resolve. Okay? So the market is going to have to resolve this region. In the bigger picture, I probably would prefer the yellow count if we break down, to be honest with you. It gives us a much better shape in the larger degree, because then it gives us a 1-2 1, 2, 1, 2, and that will finally, and this next 1, 2 will point us, where would it point us? Hold on. It would point us, that would be this structure, would point us all the way up here for that debris. And that is what I want to see in the metals complex. That is an appropriate third of third in the metals complex, meaning it would point the entire structure up towards the 70 region for just this 5-wave structure off of here. Okay? That would be my preference. Okay? So let's see if we can get that. But on the microstructure, guys, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I am following. If the market can break this out, that would be a lot better scenario. If it cannot break it out, I think the better scenario would be to prepare for a bigger wave 2 pullback. That would be my preference. Okay? The S is getting close. Oh, come on, guys. That was just one drop. We're already down here. Okay. Let's look at, I'm running out of time. Let's look at the USO. The USO, we put this chart out earlier when we were here. I said if we can break out through the pivot, you can go long. You put your stops just below the pivot. If you did, you're up here. Look, I would, there's no question about it. If you got into this, you should be stopping out with profits. The question is if you're allowing it an opportunity to go up. I mean, if you didn't take profits up here, guys, when we got past the 2.0, I don't know what to tell you. You got to start learning how to trade. If you're going to a 2.0 on a move like this, guys, and you're not taking your profits, we got to talk. But if you're still in, you don't want to see this below 1130. Right now, this is a hard pattern to swallow. I've been vacillating back and forth for a week now about whether or not we can reach a bigger flat here, as in yellow, or if the market has already begun its decline in a diagonal form. I've been going back and forth, and to be honest with you, I really have no clarity on which one is the better count. Ultimately, I believe we're resolving down. What that structure is still being clouded by the overlap. It's too much overlap to have any solid counts. I like solid counts within an impulse because it gives me parameters to trade in a reasonably higher probability fashion. Okay, so right now I believe we're going to resolve lower. Can we still get up into the 1230 to 1250 region for a bigger flat? If we break 1130, the answer is probably no, but could even resurrect as a more complex structure, maybe even a triangle in here. Again, without a 5-wave structure, I don't have a solid way to be able to gauge. All I can gauge is that this is a corrective consolidation, likely leading us lower. Okay? Okay. You want to see my silver chart? That's my silver chart. Silver chart, either market can still extend higher up to the 18 region and change, but if we've already started, this probably is a wave 4, and I'm going to calculate and continue to calculate this as a wave 4. Okay? Lastly, I got to do the dollar quickly because we're running out of time. I have no indications the dollar has topped yet. I'll tell you that right now. Can I get 5 waves down? Depending on whether or not you take into account that spike that you got in the overnight down to 97, maybe that's 5 waves down. I don't have the spike on my Dixie chart. So in my Dixie chart, this looks more like a consolidation than anything else. which means I don't have 5 waves down in a clear fashion. And if I don't have 5 waves down in a clear fashion, and this now is too big for a bigger 4, it suggests to me that this was an A wave rally, this was a B wave pullback, and we potentially may be starting up for a C wave higher, or this is just going to be a B wave for another drop, and then we get higher. So right now I have no clear indications that this is there is a top in the dollar yet. I have no indications yet. Rather, I think it looks more like a consolidation that then is going to push us higher one more time. I have no more comments about the TLT, guys. If something comes up on the TLT, I will say something. Nothing has changed from my prior comments. I don't want to be in it. I think it's gone too far already. Okay, not with my money. So, are there any other questions? Today we went on a little long, so I know it has been a little complex of late. I hope I brought a little more clarity to it. I will catch you guys later. Have a great day.